As the last studio tour had a really great response from you guys, I want to invite you for the second visit. This time we will visit Motiv Studios.
Big thanks to Autodesk for sponsoring this video. Without them, it won't be possible for us to visit Motiv. And I promise you that in this episode you will gain so much knowledge that you can't even imagine. So inspirational visit. We can learn so much from this meeting, not only about the creative side, but also about the business perspective. This is like a perfect guide for 3D artists, and they really deserve many thanks from us guys. So don't forget to give them a lot of love in the comments.
Hi, my name is Paweł Podgórski and welcome to Motiv. So Motiv has been founded in 2008 and it was just a one-man company. With a while it grew a little bit and now we got offices present in Gdynia in Warsaw and also in Bordeaux. Quite exciting journey, and we'll give you a little bit of details today how it all happened. Right now we are in the office in Gdynia where our team is working primarily on the US-based projects, which are in most cases large-scale projects. The other team is in Warsaw and is supporting our team in Gdynia, but it is also growing really rapidly, so we expect to engage in large-scale projects as well.
We started our fresh office in Warsaw last year, work as a small team on smaller scale projects that do not demand the bigger team to split the work. We started some new exciting projects in Poland for the projects in Warsaw, Krakow and in Poland in general.
And the other team is in Bordeaux, which is a small team dedicated for the French market. And in Bordeaux, we usually work with smaller scale projects like libraries, wineries, a lot of cool stuff as well.
We have privilege to work with various clients on all the continents. So starting from Europe till Australia, we have large and small scale clients. So basically you might know some of those companies and some of those projects. We had the pleasure to work for Hahaha for the project in Bratislava, which is completed right now. And at the same time, we have opportunity to work with our good client, which is the KPF from New York, on Royal Atlantis project in Dubai, which is open like 2 weeks ago, and it's really impressive.
You work mostly with international clients, so how do you manage everything?
Yes, that's correct. So our teams in Poland are focused on the US clients and Australian clients, and the French team is managing the French market. So for the French team, it's easier a little bit because they are in the same time zone and there is no difference in language. So they do a great job, but I think we are doing a great job as well with all those differences we need to face. But yeah, the reality is that we have this huge spread in time. So that's one thing. So we have projects in Melbourne and we have projects in Seattle, which are, I don't know how many hours, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like one day.
Do you sleep at all?
Well, I do, and to do that, I also have help. Otherwise, it would be not possible. So we have representatives in Australia and in US. In US specifically in Seattle. So we work with Chad Buddington, which is the nicest guy ever. He's super involved, and whenever we have a job in Washington, instead of Washington, then he's the guy. In Australia, we also work with a talented photographer, very loyal client and friend of mine, Peter Sexty, which basically is the reason why I started to work in Australia. It's a very close environment, to be honest. It's not easy to build your position and start getting projects in a different country, and Australia is really difficult to do it. And I'm just lucky enough to find those people, or those people found me, and now we can do it. So that's one thing, and that is very helpful. And then obviously I go to bed quite late to manage the clients, and we have a lot of phone calls, everyday conference calls. And then I get up late, but my team is working early in the morning to just pick up, grab all those updates that we get over the night.
That sounds like a big deal in terms of managing everything, and you guys are probably curious how it is even possible to coordinate. Now Patrick will explain how they manage it from a more technical point of view.
To make the process smooth, we are using some software. First is Asana. This is task manager for our teams to have everything in mind. So we are doing lists of the activities for each day, for each week, and for each project. And every team member knows the plan of the day before he starts work every day. This is the first thing. Second thing is Slack. It's the very popular communicator, especially in the IT sector. And this is like, let's say, chat in between our teams, split it into the specific projects. Third one is just Google Meets, where we have the daily meetings.
As we learned how we can coordinate the work of the team and clients, let's dive into the creative production process.
So the process, yep, we are proud to be creative. So we also encourage our clients to give us a little bit more time and play with the projects. So what you can see on the screen here, the image on the left is what we call is a sketch, and the image to the right is the final version. If you'll take a close look at the sketch on the left, you'll see it's low resolution, it's low quality, but it has the atmosphere, it has the angle, and it has the lighting. What we try to do with every project is to tease our clients with a lot of beautiful images, and that is what we call art direction. So step one, we get information about how many views, what is the type of the views the client would like to generate. In step two, we send this kind of sketches. And I have a PDF file on the other screen that is the actual presentation from this project. So the client requested probably around 5 views here, and we delivered as the first thing, the first presentation, about 25. And why we would do that, you can ask the question. Well, here it is. Well, first, we study the project from many angles, play with a lot of lighting and atmosphere conditions. So we have like no constraints, we can go wild. Then, we get those low resolution sketches and we send them to the client. So the first thing he will see is not just a clay model, a simple view. He'll get not an image, but emotions. And emotions, my friends, it's what is selling the story. Because the architecture can be great, the design can be amazing, but if you will sell the emotions, it will stay with you for a long time. That is, of course, additional time we need to put into the first stage of the project. So we always ask for a little bit more time to do it. But once we do it, you get more confidence that the image that you will select, for example, like this one on the screen here, is going only to improve. And that way, the clients will give you and are giving us more flexibility, more freedom, because they are sure what is going to happen will be just great. It will only improve. And that is pretty much our biggest secret for today. The trouble with this approach is you need to have a highly trained team, because it's not only modeling, rendering, you need to be efficient, because many of those views, they will, pretty much be not developed. You need to understand when to stop, when it's good enough to take it to the post-production software. And you can then add like photographs, matte painting, and that helps, my friends, to build art direction. And this is the philosophy behind our process.
This is a super interesting approach and it seems super professional. Now let's find out more good stuff. I think it will be good to hear something from a production team member as well. Let's meet Kirill.
I joined Motiv Studio actually 1 year ago exactly, and I work on the position of post-production. So mainly I do Photoshop post-production of drafts, pre-finals, finals, all the process. So it's like a carousel of all the projects that are being done in the studio. I take care of that. Before that, I was working as a 3D generalist. I would rely on frame buffer and I would do the entire image in 3D Max, which puts certain constraints on what can you do with the image. Basically, this is the outcome and you're locked to it. There's no much room for wiggle, so to say. And in Motiv Studio, I learned a completely new workflow due to the position that I'm in. My whole process changed from baking the image and having it really fixed in one place in terms of gamma, contrast, everything, lighting, to a really flexible workflow where I produce the image when I get to work on 3D. I produce the image myself that is very flat, that has lots of channels to get any kind of result that the client wants, especially in the situation when we have to change things very quickly, when we have to adjust to each separate client. Really helpful. So that changed my whole perspective on how I produce images. So the switch up of specification of work really helped to get rid of the burnout that I started to feel. I was working for about 6 years before that in 3D Max. And right now I'm mostly doing it in Photoshop, so that's a completely different field. It really brought back the interest for the profession for me because, well, it's completely different.
Now, I'm sure you're waiting for this, so without any further ado, let's find out what 3D software they use in Motiv and why.
So, in our studio we are using mostly common known software, which is 3ds Max as a base, because this is the most popular software for 3D, I believe, and at the same time our employees has the best knowledge in that software. Regarding the renderers, there is no surprise, I believe. This is the V-Ray and Corona. So Corona is our studio mostly for the interior stuff and small-scale projects. However, the V-Ray, thanks to the options which we have impact on, is mostly for the aerial views and for large-scale developments, such as cities, urban context, or more specific animations, because we are doing quite often animations. Adding to this, Rayclone, Forest Pack. For the post-production, we are using Adobe package, which is Creative Cloud mostly, so Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, Photoshop, of course, as a base with additional scripts.
Can you tell us a bit about the most challenging project you've worked on?
Yeah, absolutely. We get a lot of fantastic projects, and some of them are really unique, also because of the location. So we had this competition in Tokyo. Yeah, it was hard to get to the location in the first place, but we also had to show specific, users entering the arena and present the user experience. So, because it's an animation, I need to figure out how can I find, like really Japanese talents to engage into the production within 4 weeks.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah, so that's pretty fast. And then, we figured it's impossible, but it's a requirement. So we have to find a way to make it work. So then we were just brainstorming. So the idea was, because it's a sport arena and it's also associated with a local basketball team and league, we figured maybe we can replace the people, like forget about the people. And we will present every user, every type of a person which will enter the arena with a different basketball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, we have like this tired basketball, which is a hard-working basketball representing, like athletes which are working hard to get to the top. We have the average ball, which is, like all the kids, all the fans. And we have the VIP ball. So the VIP ball was specifically designed to represent the interest of the investors and of the stakeholders, which will be able to access different parts of the arena. And we had to show all of them. So, with that concept built, we could avoid hiring studios and looking for pretty much Japanese actors, which within this time frame would be impossible.
Yeah.
So, this is one of my first sketches, by the way. I still use the Cintiq. I love it. I use also pen, but this digital paper is fantastic. And also because of the time frame, when you do sketches like that, you can quickly just translate what you have in your mind to the paper. And because it's so imperfect, clients don't get attached to details. So this is a software we use to manage our projects. It's called Mural. It's a virtual board, nothing fancy, but we put all of our sketches here to build a storyboard. So I'll just zoom in, actually zoom out a bit to show you the initial storyboarding.
So do you share this with clients, the storyboards, or it's just for internal use?
So it's for both. Absolutely, it's for the internal use because we can place comments between us, and I work also a lot of remotely, as you know. So I have an update every day at any moment to what's going on, and I can put my notes. But also for the client. So they can react with us in real time using these boards, and sometimes they do, sometimes they prefer different type of communication. But all those sketches here, and I think it was like 50 of them, just zooming out, zooming out, zooming out.
That's a lot.
This is the storyboard. And that's again all about being efficient. So I had to make them really quickly, so within a day. So I just take my phone, set a 5 minutes timer, and start sketching. 5 minutes, boom, next one, next one, next one.
Okay.
And first, I just do those sticky notes, thinking about every scene, and then I paint the scene.
Okay.
So you can communicate with the client. It's a story here, a basketball in a kid's room, then the second basketball, which is in the park, and then the last basketball, which is a trophy, in an office for a very successful person. And then all those basketballs, they suddenly, magically, they start to move, and they just escape from the rooms. They, look at that. So they jump out of the windows, and they travel through Tokyo, and then finally they meet at the arena. Still looking basketballs, and then in the moment, which is the most high moment of the movie, they explode like confetti, filling the entire space with people. But at that moment, we are so far away within the stadium that we cannot see who's sitting at all those chairs. Animated 3D people did the trick. Yeah, just at the very end, there is this beautiful moment where there is the winning moment first, when you hit the last shot. The team wins the match, and then all those 3 basketballs, they meet at the bench in the arena, right? So, and then that's it, that's the end. And also the story was unique to present architecture. So it helped the clients to stand out from the crowd. And I just want to say that those difficult projects, when you get to a point that there is no way, to solve it, sometimes that will just push you to be more creative, and then you can find ideas that are a little bit out of the box, and then the most difficult project can be your most successful project. And we like it. We like to play with it.
Yeah, it's incredible, really.
Thank you very much.
Such complicated projects require a lot of teamwork, so it's a good time to meet another artist from the studio, Michal.
My main tasks in Motiv Studio is basically creating all kinds of environments for the client's needs, from interiors to exteriors. My main course of work is modeling buildings, site plans, creating interiors. Another part of my job is the artistic part, to make the image work, to take the 3D scene to the 2D picture, make it sellable and make it interesting to look at, for client to make interesting his clients.
Now let's talk about another really interesting project that I'm sure you will be excited about.
So this one is another very unique location in the city of Rabat in Morocco. It's a quite unique building, as you can see as well. And on top of that, it's a hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's iconic. It's been awarded for the design, And yeah, our clients just did a great job here. So when we look at the building first, we said like, wow, it's going to be a powerful statement for the city. We had to be flexible about the environment because we knew we'll be doing animation, but it was too early to decide about the flight paths. So what we did was we decided not to go for drone footage. We decided to build the city of Rabat in 3D, obviously.
Okay.
Right? So the entire environment, as you can see, from the beginning up to the horizon line, has been built by our team in 3D.
Okay. What year it was?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So basically, we used 3ds Max to build the environment first. We had some photographs we found online, some Google screenshots to, you know, like build the layout of the city, find some, well, language for architecture that is present in city of Rabat. So you can see those buildings here. Maybe they are not exactly the same at the location, but the footprint and the language of architecture is the same. So we have a close representation of the city fabric built in 3D. And that way we are flexible with the process. So we can, you know, spin the building anyway. And that helped a lot to tailor this project because it was a competition as well. Yeah, I mean, it took probably 6 weeks or so to complete the animation and the still images in coordination with the US-based office with our clients, which in this case it's HKS.
It all sounds like a lot to handle, so they for sure need to have a super powerful workstation to be able to do everything on time, don't you think?
So, to be honest, they are not that powerful.
So basically we are based on the AMD Ryzen processors. We have also render farms in the basement of the buildings. Those are Intel Xeon processors. And currently we are upgrading the computers with NVIDIA graphic cards because we feel that this is also a future. So we started to learn Unreal Engine. This is the way we try to develop our skills for the future because we feel that it might be a bright future ahead, the Unreal Engine.
And I think it's not critical to have a powerful setup to achieve fantastic results. In fact, when I was starting to build the company in 2008, we had very little help of any plugins and hardware. I had 8 gigs of RAM and the same scale and type of the projects. So in reality, if you can deal with slower machines, with lower RAM usage with your projects, well, you'll be better organized and you'll be more efficient. So in the end, you need to learn better your tools. And then when you will move to a better setup, you'll be just doing an amazing progress. So in the beginning, sometimes slower, using worse machines, it can really benefit for you. So, you know, we of course like to have great toys in our arsenal, but it's not critical to be the best in the industry.
And Paweł is the best example of that. When I started with 3D, I was so impressed by his works. I wondered how it was even possible to do all of that, especially with the software available back then. Let's solve this mystery and let's talk with him about some of the projects you may know really well.
I have some nice experiences as well. And usually those projects are challenging, especially back in the day if you have no scatter plugins like, for example, multi-scatter or forest packs. So that was a bit of a problem when dealing with foliage, with dealing with plants in general. I had this project where my client came to me and asked for beautiful flowers, and he gave me those pictures of Wisteria floribunda, which are the hanging plants. There was no way I could get a model because they just didn't exist, and I had no plugins to support to model those flowers. So I called up my friend that was really proficient in modeling, and he told me like just start with one flower, then build the second one, the third one, mix them, and then you'll get it.
Sounds simple.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I was silly enough to follow that advice. So I started with modeling one flower, second one, third one, then the stem, and then like the branch. So I built like 3 branches. To do that, I grouped my flowers, and then I painted them using a plugin, which at that time was available, Advanced Painter. So it was like really the beginning of any scatter. And once I did that, I converted those 3 groups into V-Ray proxies using 3ds Max. I just painted them and copied and instanced them on top of my scene, which you can see right here. So, you know, all this has been done within a day, all those flowers. And I just felt, okay, so if that's so simple, I'll go for it. And I was surprised by the result.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I didn't know that using so simple techniques, you can achieve some nice results. And yeah, the client was very happy. So we explored the collaboration for a long time together. Now he's our partner at the Bordeaux office. So that's the story.
That's how the great relationship starts, right?
Yeah, I mean, he challenged me with this idea, and I just tried, and it clicked, and here we go. So that was about this project. But you know, even then, I was always looking for options to be, I mean, standing from the crowd. That's always what you want to do. You don't want to be, you know, the next guy, the next brick in the wall. And that time, you know, you don't have plugins, you have limits with software and hardware. So it's difficult to build any different environment. Usually you have like green trees and grass, that's it. So I figured I can show a different way for projects, and I started to like experiment with snow. And I did my diploma project at the university using snow, and then I used the knowledge for this project as well. And again, the client didn't want it, but I felt like it may be cool. And then they called me up and they said like, yeah, we love it, we want to buy it. Like, so, you know, again, simple use of techniques, not many resources with hardware, simple textures, really. And if I can give you any advice, I mean, to the viewers, because you are much more advanced than me, but I would just say, don't overcomplicate.
Yeah.
Just, you know, start simple with textures, with simple shaders, because in most cases, it will be faster, it will give you a good start, and sometimes it's just enough. And sometimes they took a lot of time to render, so that's for sure. So all those scenes, this one, the previous one, probably took like, you know, 12, 15 hours. It was a good thing, you know? I had to learn the discipline.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was unable to make a mistake. If I would make a mistake, it was no way I could catch up and deliver on time.
Yeah.
And that was one of the elements I always wanted to be on time. Like, whatever happens, you be on time. And that way, you learn how to predict the result. So you don't need to render a preview at some point when you do it every day to estimate the outcome. And yeah, so then again, there you go. Sometimes having slower machines, worse conditions can bring you still great results and make you better as an artist.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Whoa, that's so much great bits of advice we've got so far. But that's not everything. The Motiv team wants to do even more for the artists and the RVs industry. Let's learn about their new project.
As a group of creative people, we always need to inspire each other and to search a new approach and new references, inspirations, and we just want to talk about what we like, what we are interested in. Therefore, we had this idea to create a special 3D 3D creative meet in Warsaw. Since we are here, we find it natural to meet in central Poland, to gather all the creative people, not only the 3D. Inspired by the other events in other countries like UK and in the US, we are planning to have this recurrent event, to have this tool that will connect people, help to find a new way of work, or yeah, just to set up a new company.
The 3D Warsaw event took place one day after we recorded, and during our time in Warsaw, one of the conference speakers arrived. Let Paweł introduce him to you.
I have a very special guest with me, which is Karim Musa. And we got Karim just picked up from the airport. Yeah. And believe it or not, but this is our first meeting. And we know each other back from, I guess, 2009, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we've met on Evermotion platform, right? So we had to type all those messages to communicate.
Yeah.
And you know, like Karim was always the guy I was pushing the limits.
Oh.
He's a great artist. He's did some great time in top studios, and now he's doing movies as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. I mean, you were like a lot of inspiration for me as well. I mean, we had like such a friendship from back in the days, and we pushed each other, we inspired each other, and it's really amazing to finally meet you and to see the amazing progress of your company and the development of Motiv across the years. And because we are in the same generation group, so yeah. I really feel proud of you, man, and I'm really happy to be here and to be part of this event. So yeah, it's incredible. And I love the city, by the way. Warsaw is awesome.
Warsaw is awesome.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to visit us, you know where to find us. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
It's a great honor to have you here.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, Karim.
Thank you, man.
I'm sure you are all inspired by our visit. If you feel the vibe of the company and you would like to apply for the position, I ask about it in advance for you guys.
A lot of artists look for a job. What to do to work in Motiv?
So basically you need to follow our social media, like Instagram, Facebook. So we constantly looking for some talents. So basically feel free to contact us, just send us portfolio and tell us about yourself. We are open for every single artist, from junior one to senior one. If you feel that you would like to work with us and you are inspired by our renderings and what we do, so feel free to reach us anytime. We are always getting back. So don't be afraid, apply, and definitely it might be a good start of your career in Argvis.
And what is more important for you? What do you value the most, the 3D skills or personal characteristics?
I think the personal characteristic is the key for us, because all of the technical knowledge, the 3D knowledge, you can learn from us. If you are a quick learner, then this is not a problem. But your personal attitude, your mentality is really the key for us, and we have a really huge number of people who started with us without any knowledge, and then they became really great artists and have really nice career.
At the end, let's listen to the success story of Rafał, 3D senior generalist in Motiv.
Hello, I'm Rafał and I'm working here at Motiv Studio for 3 years. And when I was starting here, my portfolio wasn't very spectacular. But Patrick and Paweł, they found something in my pictures, and I started working here. Now I'm a senior 3D artist, and I learned a lot during this time. Now it's my time to help others to develop their skills. And it was a very nice time in my life. I learned a lot. I meet very nice people.
It was a great visit. Stay tuned for another video from this series. Big thanks to Motiv for having us here today. See you soon.
Jeszcze nie zaczęliśmy. Będzie wersja uncut. Właśnie gdzie mam patrzeć? Na ciebie? W aparat. Nie. To już się nagrywa, tak? Tak. Dobra, to mogę, tak? Dobra, ale macie dużą kartę na pewno. Dobra. To wtedy to możecie wrzucić na miniaturkę.
Thanks for the idea, Tomek, but we actually went with this one. Here's where our second pick though.